Okay. Good morning. It's 10 a.m. straight up on this Tuesday, the 12th of January 2021. We welcome you here today to our Weber County Commission meeting. Seated to my right is Commissioner Scott K. Jenkins, and to my left is W. Gage Frohr, or is it Gage? What is it? H. Gage H. Frohr. That H is a great, and I'm Jim Harvey. Our Pledge of Allegiance this morning will be led by Steve Burton. Our invocation will be given by William George Ross, and I'll take the thought of the day. Mr. Burton.
Please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, as we gather today at this commission meeting, we come with grateful hearts for all the many blessings Thou bestow upon us here, especially in Weber County and also in our nation. And we're grateful for our good commissioners and elected officials and how they serve and strive to make our community the best it can be. And we're grateful for them and pray that Thou might sustain them and bless them in their efforts and the decisions that they continue to make on our behalf. We're grateful also for our national leaders and pray especially that Thou might be with them, especially during their time of transition and much disruption going on, that Thou might bless and sustain us as a country, that the processes will remain true, and that Thy blessings will be upon all those who are striving to serve us to the best of their ability. We're grateful also for our law enforcement officers and our first responders, and pray that Thou might watch over them as well as they serve us in the community. We are grateful for Thy influence and Thy blessings that have been poured out upon all of us. Pray that Those influences will be here in this commission meeting. Thy Spirit will be with those who participate, that the actions and things will be in accordance to the laws and statutes, and help us, bless us as we strive to sustain ourselves as individuals and our families. Again, we're grateful for all that we have, and we ask for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Today for our thought, as I was looking, I was reminded of, commissioners, the movie that Steven Spielberg put together called Lincoln. And that show that had Abraham Lincoln and so many thoughts. And one of the things that really caught my attention is they were talking about slavery and rights of all individuals. He was in the basement late one night and was talking with one of the staff members. And as Abraham Lincoln was just saying, well, what did you study? He says, well, I studied engineering. And Abraham Lincoln said, well, I don't know much about engineering. He says, boy, but what little I know, he says, you must be rather familiar with Euclid's axioms and common notions. And I think the person who'd studied engineering didn't even know a couple of those terms because they're not in the engineering that we've dealt with that seem too much. But he said that things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other. In the movie, and I wondered if that was a quote, and I've since found out it is, that Abraham Lincoln used. Things that are equal to the same thing are equal to each other, as he was talking about rights. And I've reflected back on that. He says that's the rule of mathematification, reasoning. It's true because it works. And so he used math as we were talking about equal rights. I love math. I love that we're using math more and more. I love that math is helping us with our reaching out to people in every department of the county. I love the fact that We use math to determine what way we go for business as a commission. We're using math and we're using data to make decisions to run the county as a business, not just a government, but as a business. And because of our employees and the responsibility and the ownership that they've taken in their respective jobs, it's proving so well, and we're so lucky in 2021 to have such a great group who use the data to make better informed decisions to serve our public. I'm grateful for those employees that have decided this is where they want to go to work, to serve, and I want them to know that they're making a difference. Whether they feel as they're part of a Euclid, an axiom, or a common notion, that they are making a difference in their life's work and they're appreciated, and I hope that message comes loud and clear to them. So that's my thoughts today, Commissioners. Do you have any thoughts you'd like to include? Commissioner Jenkins or Commissioner Frohr?
No, great job.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it. Now's the time on our agenda for item E, like echo, or public comments. Are there any in the audience today or any online that would like to address the commission? We ask, if you so, that you spend only 3 minutes in doing so. Stacy, anything? Shelley? Not seeing anything coming through, so we'll move on to item F, our consent items. Commissioners, item number 1 under item F, like Foxtrot, is a request for approval of warrants 3419 through and including 3435 and 455,854 to 456,006 in the amount of $3,947,439.28. Item 2 is a request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $462,551.91. Item 3 is a request for approval of minutes for the meeting held on January 5th, 2021. Item 4 is a request for approval of ACH payments to U.S. Bank in the amount of $185,260.86. Item 5 is a request for approval of new business licenses. Item 6, a request for the Weber County Sheriff's Office for approved surplus audio-visual equipment. Item 7 is a request from the Weber County Animal Services to approve surplus office furniture. Item 8, request from the Weber County Community Development for approval to declare parcel number 23-013-000225. I'll repeat, 23-013-0225 as surplus property. And then item 9 is a request for approval of retirement agreements by and between Weber County and the following individuals: Darren Croton, Mary Kathleen Olison, David McInnes, Bill Hansen, and Joseph Porter. Commissioners, any questions on any of those consent items?
No, I'm good.
Mr. Jenkins? Mr. Hatch, would you, and to all of us today, if you would, I'd like you to focus on speaking directly into the microphone, especially with our masks, so that it's not so much in the chamber here, but those online can hear us and make sure that they can hear us now, but they can't hear us up here. So just make sure that you're into the mic, if you would. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Good morning. This week we issued 29 purchase orders for $463,000. Just over half of that amount, or $260,000, was for to purchase a long stick track hoe. 17%, or $79,000, is for the transfer station, and that will go towards equipment repairs as well as hazardous waste removal. 13%, or $61,000, is for the Golden Spike Event Center, and that's primarily to purchase concessions. 7%, or $31,000, is for the library, and that will go towards work-study staff as well as supplies, copies, and catering. And then 6%, or $26,000, is for information technology, and that will purchase network switches as well as pay for some software maintenance. As far as checks, we issued 170 checks for $3.9 million. Just under half of that amount, or $1.9 million, is the county's general insurance premium with the Utah County's indemnity pool, as well as our workers' compensation premium. 13% or $522,000 is road construction for Pioneer Road out in Marriott Slaterville. And that's paid for with tax, with transportation tax dollars. And then 10% or $411,000 is for the transfer station, and that went almost exclusively to disposal fees.
Thank you, Mr. Hatch. Commissioners, does that bring up any other comments or questions for you?
Not for me.
No?
I'd make a motion to approve consent items.
There's a motion to approve the consent items. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Before I place that motion, I want to just comment to those in the galley here and online. You know, there was one item mentioned, the long stick track hoe. And you think, well, what is a long stick track hoe? Well, it's basically a hydro unit or a track hoe with the big arm, but it's exceptionally long. And I want to compliment Commissioner Jenkins and Sean and Bill and Joe and the guys out there. For everybody knows what a bathtub is. And everybody knows what happens when hair and debris gets in the drain of a bathtub. It starts to back up or it doesn't drain as well. Well, the same thing happens with our water system, our stormwater system throughout the county. If you live in a city or a county, debris gets washed down the stormwater and it eventually ends way out west. And on those banks way out west, they get trees and limbs and branches and logs and it clogs things up out there. So a piece of construction equipment has to reach a long ways out there so it doesn't get stuck in the mud to be able to grab that debris out of the basin of the bathtub, so to speak, so that the water drains. So this is a proactive way of keeping the hair out of the bottom of the bathtub, so when the spring runoff comes, whether it's this year or in any other year where there might be floods, the water can get out to the Great Salt Lake from Weber County. This helps to be proactive in preventing flooding in homes and cities, and especially those who have higher water tables. So I appreciate what's happened here. So appreciate that. With that, I'll place the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes. Our item number F. I'll move to action items now. Item G, like golf. The first item is a request for approval of a resolution of the County Commissioners appointing trustees to the Powder Mountain Water Sewer Improvement District Board of Trustees. Stacy Skeen, go ahead with that if you would, please.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Powder Mountain Water and Sewer Improvement District Board of Trustees had 3 positions that expired December 31st of 2020. I posted according to state statute, and I received 5 applications for the 3 positions. One applicant withdrew his application, and 2 other applicants are not eligible at this time. So you have 2 applications before you who are eligible to serve, which would be Commissioner Harvey and Robert Cabot. Just asking for your approval on resolution.
Go ahead, please.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we appoint James Harvey to fill the position that he currently fulfills, and Richard Cabot, I think it is.
Robert
Cabot to replace Mike Moyle on the Powder Mountain Sewer and Water Board.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
Resolution 2.
Resolution number 2. Stacy, do you have any questions?
No.
I'll place that motion. Go ahead, Fatima.
Commissioner Ford,
Aye.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye. Thank you. Now, that's resolution number 2. Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Skeen. Appreciate that. That resolution passes. Now go to item number 2 on our agenda, which is a request for approval of a resolution of the County Commissioners of Weber County appointing board members to the Ogden Valley Recreation/Transmission Special Services District. Stacy, go ahead on that. You're the presenter.
Okay, again, the Ogden Valley Recreation and Transmission Special Service District had 3 positions that expired. Their terms expired 12/30 of 2020. I received 3 applications for the 3 positions, and you have those in front of you. Christopher R. Wendell, Kimball W. Hale, and Michael R. Zindel.
Commissioner Frohr, this is in your portfolio. Do you have any questions or comments regarding this?
No, I've reviewed these, and whenever you're ready for a motion, I'm happy to place the motion.
Commissioner Jenkins, any questions? No. Commissioner Frohr, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the resolution as presented by Ms. Skeen for the Ogden Valley Recreation Transmission Special Service District with the following individuals. Would be Michael Zindel, Kimball W. Hale, and Christopher Wendell.
We have a motion
Second?
and a second. If no other discussion, I'll place that motion. Fatima?
Commissioner Frohr,
Aye.
Commissioner Jenkins,
Aye.
Chair Harvey.
Aye. Resolution 3 passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 4. Mr. Burton, you're next on the agenda. That's a request for approval of a pressurized secondary water line agreement by and between Weber County and Cherokee Farms, Inc. Mr. Burton.
Hi, Commissioners.
Hello.
This agreement comes before you because there's a subdivision being developed called the Barn at Cherokee Farms, and the developers is installing a secondary water line, pressurized secondary water line along 900 South for about 1,000 feet. Since the developer isn't, they're creating an entity that isn't an existing secondary water company. And so what we wanted to do is enter into an agreement with them so that they know that they are responsible to maintain and install and repair any of those lines because it's in the county's right of way. And so that's the purpose of this agreement, is to have the liability on that company to install that line.
Does that agreement go into perpetuity?
It's a good question. I will ask if either Chad from engineering or Sean Wilkinson specifically know if it's in perpetuity.
Mr. Wilkinson, if you can address that into the mic so the people online can hear.
Commissioners, on the secondary water agreement, I believe that is in perpetuity.
Very good. Thank you.
The subdivision hasn't recorded yet. They're still a ways off from recording. But we also have another agreement after this one that I think the developer is trying to get into place before actually recording the subdivision plats. And I'll answer any other questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Commissioner Jenkins, this is in your portfolio. Do you have any comments or questions for Mr. Burton?
I do not. If they feel comfortable with the agreement, so do I.
And
Commissioner Frohr.
no, I think we've been through this. Appreciate the work of the staff that's kept us informed on this particular development. So I'm good with the proposal.
Wonderful. Commissioner Jenkins, would you like to make a...
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we approve item 3 under G, action items for the water line, secondary water line agreement between Weber County and Cherokee Farms.
We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Is there any other discussion? None being heard, I'll place that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Burton. You're on the hook for the next item, number 4 on our agenda, which is a request for approval of a sewer development reimbursement agreement by and between Weber County and Cherokee Farms, Inc.
Yes, similar situation. Developer, there's a couple subdivisions going in. The developer has installed some sewer line along 900 South and would like to be refunded or reimbursed as development connects to that connection in the future. This agreement is not in perpetuity. It's until the developer gets 62% of that cost to install that. And so there is a limit on how much, there's a cap on how much the developer receives back.
Very good. Commissioners, questions?
Comment?
Go ahead.
You know, this is an agreement that we do that allows these developers to recap or get reimbursed for some of their expense when they develop a large water sewer line, something like that, that they have a high expense for. And it's, as Steve said, it's not in perpetuity. They can only do it for so long. But a lot of times, development follows when they put a large line in because they run it past property that previously couldn't develop. And that's exactly what's happened here. So I'm very much in favor of this. And it doesn't matter who it's for. It'd be this in anybody's case. So I'm in favor of it. So with that, are you ready for a motion?
I am.
So I'd make a motion that we approve the sewer pioneering agreement, is that what we call that?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Between Weber County and Cherokee Farms.
Great, I have a motion.
I'll second that.
Great. Are there any discussion? None being heard, I'll place that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Burton.
Thank you.
Commissioners, just to let you know, I confirmed in the previous item under the pressurized water agreement that it is in perpetuity and that there is an agreement to allow a covenant to be recorded against the land. So yes, that is in fact the case.
That's what I remember, but I wanted to just verify. Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Ms. Rollins, you're next. This is a request for approval contract by and between Weber County and Optic Loop Communications to define and clarify original contract TXOX now that the company has been charged or changed to Optic Loop Communications. Ms. Rollins.
Hi.
Hi.
So in an effort to provide our customers with guest Wi-Fi that does not interfere with county business Wi-Fi through IT, we entered an agreement in 2016 for guest wireless. Since that company has changed hands, we've taken the opportunity to review with Chris Crockett's team and make clarifying statements to the agreement that serve the county's best interests moving forward.
Very good. This equipment's placed on the roof
It is.
of that facility up there. Great. Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Just a statement, I've been involved with Ms. Rollins and feel like the work that she's done in advance of this being fair to the contractor, but also to Weber County is good. And so I'm in favor of this. And so I'll entertain a motion from one of you.
Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to make that motion.
Please.
And I'd move to approve the contract by and between Weber County and Optic Loop Communications to define and clarify that original contract.
Very good.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll place that motion now. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Rollins.
Thank you.
Linda Wingsgard, you're next. This is a request for approval of a ratification form of agreement by and between Weber County Library and Jardine Malaska Construction Services for earthquake damage remediation. Linda Wingsgard, our library director. Thank you, Linda.
Good morning.
Good morning. If you'd
Well,
speak, if you'd pull that mic down and speak loud, Linda.
As
Thank
the
you.
agreement between the library and Jardine Malaska Construction Services indicates on the agenda, it is for remediation of damage to library buildings that resulted from a March 18th, 2020 earthquake. By way of review, a team of architects and engineers has evaluated each of the facility and prepared detailed drawings and specifications for repairs that were advertised by the purchasing department and in a competitive RFP, request for proposals. And Jardine Malaska Construction Services was the low bidder. They also met all the requirements and qualifications called out in the RFP, including but not limited to providing the required performance payment bonds and the certificate of liability insurance. The plans and process for selecting the general contractor were reviewed by Brian Barron, the board's legal counsel, as assigned by the county attorney. And I should note that Brian also spent considerable time and effort on site with the architects and the engineers and in communication with adjusters from the Utah County Insurance Pool. USEP has approved the entire base bid contract amount of $538,536.20, along with agreement to review unforeseen damages that may be discovered during the remediation process. The project will be overseen to completion by Prescott Muir Architects. The intent is to forward notice to proceed as soon as the agreement is approved, with substantial completion to follow within 150 days. There is some work that is weather dependent, primarily repairs to the soffit of the main library and the exterior support structure of the Ogden Valley branch. The library maintenance team will coordinate with the contractor to begin inside work immediately. The goal is to accomplish these repairs without closing facilities to the public, although there may be a few days of closure required at Pleasant Valley Branch, where the entrance and the circulation commons area needs some work. After review of the process and recommendation by legal counsel, the library board approved the agreement and is therefore recommending your ratification this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much, Linda. Does that conclude your presentation?
Okay. That does.
Thank you. Commissioners, I know that we've had some discussion about this. I know Commissioner Jenkins, you sit on the USIP board. Do you have any questions, either of you, regarding this?
No.
There are no questions? Then if there are no questions, please, a motion.
Yes, I'm ready. You know, I've seen this from both sides, this request or this insurance agreement, and I'd make a motion to ratify the agreement between Weber County Library and Jardine Mulaski Construction Services.
We have a motion?
Second.
And a second. If there's no other comments or questions related to this, I'll call for that to replace that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries, Linda. Thank you. Appreciate your work there. Mr. Toman, you're next. This is a request, Commissioners, this is a request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and J. Brad Bartow Construction for Wildwood Bridge reconstruction. Go ahead, Ashley.
That is correct. We have a contract with J. Brad Bartow Construction to rebuild, to do some work on the Wildwood Bridge. The deck is kind of failing. It's a wood deck. And he put forth two proposals, concrete and wood, and we've discussed this and decided to go forward with a concrete replacement of the deck. And signing this contract will allow him to get going forward in the engineering to have it analyzed for its weight capacity with the replacement of wood to concrete. And during construction, he will be allowing pedestrian traffic.
Wonderful. Commissioner Jenkins, again, this is in your portfolio. Any comments or questions regarding this?
Well, this is one project I'm glad to have off my plate. We've had a long, hard go at trying to get a contractor on this. The only bids we had wanted to totally replace the bridge, and we didn't want to do that. This is one of those quirky little things that a county commissioner years ago signed on a plan, said we'd take some responsibility for it. And I think that was Uncle Bruce. But how he did that is beyond me. But anyway, either way, we had a responsibility here for maintenance, not replacement. And we're trying to fulfill their requests, and this will allow us to do it. So I am glad to have this done. Ashley, you guys have done a really good job. I'm excited to have Brad Bartow Construction involved in this. We kind of had to search him out, and anyway, it worked out. It worked out. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm ready to make a motion.
If you're okay, Mr. Farrar?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm going to make a second with a comment when you get ready.
Go ahead, Mr.
Okay, I'd make a
Mr.
motion that we approve the contract between Weber County and J. Brad Bartow Construction for the redeck of that Wildwood Bridge.
Okay, great. Thank you, Commissioner.
And I'm going to
Commissioner
second that with a comment and a clarification to make sure that my second will be valid. And that second deals with, obviously, as Commissioner Jenkins said, this is one of those gifts that keeps on giving from the past that we have to deal with at this point in time. But normally I would be 100% opposed. This is a private development off of a public road, but because of a plat that was signed or a agreement that was signed a number of years ago by Uncle Bruce, it appears that it obligates us, or at least puts us in a situation where it's our responsibility. But I want to clarify this, and Chris, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But it's my understanding that once the bridge is complete, that's our last obligation for bridge, road, any improvements that residents of that lovely subdivision may ask of the county. Is that true or not?
So that is something that I discussed with my staff this morning, and we're going to confirm to see if there's any last legal steps that need to be taken to make sure that it is completely in private hands and there are no ongoing responsibilities for maintenance. But that is the intent, and that's where we're moving. But we'll just confirm if there's any other remaining legal requirements.
All right. Well, I'm going to second that with that understanding. If that proves not to be the case, then I'd appreciate you letting me know as soon as possible.
Will do.
And I absolutely agree with that, Mr. Chair. I want to make sure that if we need to get all the residents of that subdivision to sign a letter or whatever we have to do, Chris, because this is it.
Yeah.
We have fulfilled our responsibility and we want no more of this. We don't want this to set any kind of a precedence, or if it wasn't for what was written on the plans, we wouldn't be doing it. I agree with that, with Commissioner Farrar.
So I'm okay with the contract, but prior to authorizing construction, let's make sure that that what I just stated is in fact completed in writing. If we have to go back to those residents prior to construction, then I want to hold up construction start until that's done.
Well, it's really just going to be sitting down with everyone who's been involved within the county, making sure that we just confirm with state statute that there aren't any remaining obligations. So it's just tidying things up. So I don't anticipate any obstacles.
Thank you. Okay, that's my second that's my long-winded second, Mr. Chair.
Okay. We do have.
We don't have a lot of long wind around here. But.
So we do have a motion and a second on that item. The only thing I have to add is inconsequential to the contract. I do want you to know that Uncle Bruce, for those listening online, Uncle Bruce was a commissioner back decades and decades ago. I don't believe Uncle Bruce is still with us.
He's not.
And so when we talk about Uncle Bruce, it was a former Weber County commissioner for back in, was it 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s?
Oh, or 70s even, 70s.
So a long time ago, 50 plus years ago. Anyway, the only other thing is back in 1968 through 1971, Yamaha Motor Corporation made a little Yamaha 60, and J. Brad Bartow was the fastest human on a motorcycle back in those years. I can attest to that as a young boy. So I just wanted to make that point out. He still does good in his craft, it appears. Commissioners, we have a motion and a second. I'll place that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate your work. And Sean, appreciate your work with your team. Commissioners, we have, we've torn down the it was well beyond its useful life, our parking terrace. We're getting ready to get that completed. We've not been without interruption for unexpected water coming up all over the place. So parking, great parking is at a premium. Mr. Hatch, as a Board of Commissioners, would like to make a presentation to the Stall of Fame today, the Stall of Fame. And that stall, by the way, is located on the north side of this building, and that little lot between us and our partners.
I thought maybe he was going to put him out at the
The Golden Spike?
Golden Spike
No,
Arena.
where he could
One of
ride
those
the bus
stalls.
in. No, it's just right here. But Mr. Hatch will make that presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. It's my pleasure to introduce to you our Stall of Fame individual from the County Clerk Auditor's Office. I wish we could give 20 of these to our staff in this office, and they all do a fantastic job. Unfortunately, we can only do one, and so it's my pleasure to give the award to Mr. Roger Brunker. I'm guessing he just flinched and and has probably sworn in his brain at me several times because he doesn't like this kind of attention. But it's too bad, Roger. It's just too bad. There are some offices that naturally work on behalf of all of the other offices, like Human Resources and IT. Outside of that, I know of no other county employee who benefits more departments and more individuals at Weber County than Mr. Brunker. Not only does he work in the clerk's office and benefits the clerk's office, he works also in the auditor's office and benefits the auditor side of things. He volunteers and works and contributes to dramatically, significantly to our elections team and is a key part of our elections team. He has expertise and helps with the assessor's office. He also has expertise and helps with the recorder's and surveyor's office. He every year goes and provides significant help to the treasurer's office during their crunch time in the fall when they're collecting a lot of payments. He's helped IT tremendously with our tax system, which is old and complex and which will be replaced fairly soon. He also provides excellent advice to the commission office and others. He's just all around. It's not even a jack of all trades. He's good at everything he touches, and he touches an awful lot of different areas within the county. He's been here a long time. When I was first elected and came to the county in 2011, he tried to retire. That was not allowed, and so we brought him back full-time for a while because we had an acute need, and he was gracious to do that and has been gracious to stay with us over the years. And I'll just close with this. Roger's attitude is what makes him special. It's fun, it's irreverent, it's very personable, but overall it has an overriding service of attitude of service and help. He is not above any task that is given to him, and he does it without complaint, and often with a smile on his face and sometimes even a friendly smirk, which we all love, and we've grown to appreciate him. Anyway, with that, that is all I had to say. You can see we had several people from the clerk auditor's office come down to support Mr. Brunker, and I've received comments from several other elected officials that have said congratulations and well-deserved. And so with that, thank you for the chance to give Roger Brunker the Stall of Fame.
Great. Let's give him a round of applause, please. In a moment, we have something to present to you, Mr. Brunker. Up here at the front, would like to take a picture. So Stacy, if you'd make your camera ready. Yeah, that's how it is. Commissioners, do you have any comments for Mr. Brunker at this time? I have a couple, but I'm going to save until you're done.
It's just good to have him with the county. We appreciate you, Roger.
And I would obviously echo that. Roger touches, as Ricky said, touches a lot of different areas in this county, and from what I've seen, my experience, he does it very well. So congratulations, Roger.
I'm going to mix it up a little, Roger. To me, for all who listen now, or listening now and may listen later, to me, Roger Brunker epitomizes the term real man. He's that man who is always willing to help with a glad attitude, not just around the county, but if an organization needs help with a presentation, he'll sing, narrate, help. He's the little known, but he is the poster child for Converse shoes. And many of you know that he has those in many variety, church, athletic, casual. They're all Converse. And but he's always there. He kind of floats around to the many different departments. He sees a need. He sees people waiting, and he doesn't just fill in, but he fills in with great talent and knowledge, and he's just a wonderful man. I've known you, Roger, for nearly 3 decades now, and you've always been a gentleman. You've been kind and respectful to everyone, and I just really appreciate you. So again, if you'd join me in giving Mr. Brunker a round of applause. Roger, no matter what you choose to get yourself to that parking stall, we have a keychain that you can put your keys on that gives you license to that stall for about 30 days. And so we'll come around and present that to you with a picture now. If you'll mask up, folks.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thanks.
Ricky, stand right over there next to him. Gage, you want to hand that keychain to him?
Yeah, my pleasure. Get a picture there.
Roger, would you like to say 30, 40,000 words? Or?
I can say that on too. He's a politician. You take everything he says with a little grain of salt. Not nearly what they say I am, but I appreciate that very much. It's nice. And I've enjoyed working all 37 years here. So I appreciate it.
Wow. Good to you. Wow. Commissioners, we're now to item I, like India, on our agenda. Commissioners' comments. I got a finger point going your way, Commissioner Jenkins.
No comments today. It's
No
been a good day.
comments. Commissioner Farrar?
Just one. I know that you are, Mr. Chair, a good singer. We've heard that before. I don't know how your dancing ability is, but what we're needing is a little more snow dance, and I think that you now being the chair of the Weber County Commission should take on that responsibility. And for a couple of reasons. Number one, we could use some snow to ski on, and number two, we could probably use some water this summer. So I appreciate you taking the lead on that, and I've got full faith and confidence that we're going to have some major storms here in the next 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will accept that, and I will provide the music, but I will look to both of you who seem to be quick on your feet, doing the soft shoe for that dance to make sure that all areas are covered. So thank you for volunteering that dance, and we'll make sure for those of you, we'll get that recorded so no music's really needed with the, I promise we can make that go viral. Let me just make a little note right now. Okay, great. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion for item J like Juliet.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and seconded. We're adjourned.